Good morning. How are y'all today? It's so good to have you listen and just hear what God's wanting us to say to you this week and teach and just be here together. I hope you were able to come to church this morning and I got to see you and see your big smiles. So if not, talk to your parents and see if you can get here next week. We'd love to have you. And you can always go back and watch our sermons on YouTube. And you can see me if you watch the 945 sermon. So anyway, bags are still going and you can still get a bag outside. They're out there now. So don't forget to come by and pick it up. Tell your friends and share. And that's a great way to spread Jesus right now. So anyway, we're going to talk about Samuel today. And I just love when somebody knows my name. And I realize that you guys do too, because you get all excited when I remember your name and see you at the grocery store and I might say, "Hey, Billy, how are you?" Or, "Hey, Ella, how are you?" Or, "Hey, Brad." If I say your name, you tend to really like me. So anyway, you remember at the first of the year when you start school, a lot of times people have a name tag. So that's why the teacher can learn your name. And the other students can help learn all the different names. Your name is very important to you. I've heard it said that the sweetest sound to anyone is the sound of their name. Doesn't it make you feel good when someone remembers your name? Okay, do you think God knows your name? I'm sure He does. Names are important to God. In fact, I can think of several times in the Bible when God called someone by name. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few examples of when God calls somebody by name. One day, Moses saw a burning bush and went over to take a look. God called to him from the bush, "Moses, Moses," and Moses answered, "Here I am." And that's Exodus 3:4. And then here's another one. As Jesus walked down the streets of Jericho one day, he stopped up and looked at a tree and he said, y'all all know this, "Zacchaeus, come down right now. I am going to your house today." When Jesus called his name, Zacchaeus came down. And that's Luke 19:5. Okay, so we have another one. Before the Apostle Paul became a follower of Christ, his name was Saul. As he was going to Damascus to persecute the disciples, a bright light flashed around him. He fell to the ground, and he heard a voice from heaven say to him, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?" Saul answered, "Who are you, Lord?" And that was from Acts 9:1-5. And then, this is one of my favorite Bible stories. And we have learned this before in here, and so it may be a repeat, but I want you to really think about it this week. One of my favorite stories in the Bible is the story of a boy named Samuel. So you may remember that Samuel's mother was a woman named Hannah. She wanted a son more than anything. So she prayed and asked God to give her a son. She promised God that if he would just give her a son, she would give him back to the Lord to serve him all the days of his life. God gave Hannah the son she asked for and kept her promise to God. When the boy was old enough, she took him to the temple and presented him to Eli the priest. So Samuel served in the temple under Eli. So the temple was like a church and Eli was like a preacher, like Pastor Earl. But one night, and he slept there and he did everything there. He helped Eli, but he was just a young kid like you guys. So one night, Samuel was sleeping and he heard someone call his name. He got up and he ran to Eli. "What?" And "Here I am. You called me. What's up?" And Eli answered, "I didn't call you. Go back to sleep." And so Samuel went back to bed, and Eli's probably thinking, "That crazy kid." But again, the Lord called Samuel. Samuel jumped out of bed and he went to Eli. "Here I am. You called me." And Eli answered for the second time, "Eli didn't call you. Go back to bed." A third time, God called Samuel, and Samuel got up and he went to Eli. "Here I am. You called me," he said. Finally, Eli realized what was going on, and he realized that it was God calling Samuel. He told Samuel, "Go and lie down, and if he calls you again, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" So Samuel went back to bed, and sure enough, again he heard the voice of God calling, Samuel, Samuel. This time Samuel answered as Eli had told him, Speak, for your servant is listening. Some people think that God only calls grown-ups. But that's not what, and that's exactly why I like this story, because it tells us God's calling a kid, right? He's calling Samuel. God knows your name, and just as he knew the name of Samuel. And God calls boys and girls today saying, Come and follow me. So listen for God's call and answer just as Samuel did. Here I am. So I always wonder why I hear God's voice. Will he give me that extra nudge, or do I need to really concentrate on praying? Speak up. Let me hear what you have to say, God. I need to hear your voice. Those are great prayers that we can ask God to do, to just speak into our lives and just speak up and let us know what we need to be doing for him, and let him know that we're there to serve. I want you to pray that prayer, that you will have good listening ears and an open heart and a closed mouth while you're listening. And God will speak to you too in different ways. Just know you can be a kid and hear God's voice. And that's all I have for you today. But remember, get your bags and come to church on Sunday, because I can't wait to see you. And we will see you soon. Thanks.